Cholula, Puebla, a great site for those who enjoy the culture and traditions of the Poblanos. The exquisite meals and archaeological places that tell the story of pre-Hispanic civilizations that settled in this place many years ago. It is precisely here, in the municipality of San Pedro Cholula, where the most curious natural formations between the hills are found, so-called caves. And there exists one in particular in the depths of the Zapotecs. It is called the Devil's Hill. That is not only called like that because of its dark and gloomy appearance, but for the terrifying history that has been kept over the years. So if you're interested in knowing what happened here, then make yourself comfortable and turn up the volume because you're about to hear the legend of the Devil's Cave. Around the year 1900, life for the inhabitants of Cholula was one of extreme poverty, suffering hunger and no job opportunities. Among all these people, there existed a humble woodcutter who worked tirelessly to support his family. Mr. Olegario passed the entire day passing street by street, knocking door by door, looking to sell at least one load of firewood to bring something to eat for his family. However, he could not sell a thing. One night, after spending many days without being able to gain at least a little bit of money, Mr. Olegario started to go out for a walk in order to think straight and relax a little. The man left from his neighborhood, called San Cristobal Tepontla, walking like this until he got to the Zapotecs Hill. Once there, he found an anthropomorphic creature with a tall and thin appearance, terribly terrifying, and on top of that, he was dressed with a large red cape, hat, and cane. The atmosphere became increasingly chilling and unpleasant. The wind was cold, and the creature being in front of Mr. Olegario made him paralyzed with fear. The silence ended immediately as the creature approached Mr. Olegario to extend his hand. After a frightening laugh, he told him, "I know your problems. Do not worry. Follow me. I can help you." Without thinking about it, Mr. Olegario began to follow the monstrous entity, climbing quickly on the side of the great hill, strangely without suffering fatigue at all. Taking into account that Mr. Olegario was really old, the act was more than surprising, even for himself. When he reached the top, he started to enter into what looked like a small cave. However, after walking several minutes in the darkness, Mr. Olegario began to doubt then of what he was doing, but it was too late because a couple of steps later, he started to see a bright light that was becoming more and more intense. So you could guess that it was an exit or maybe an entrance into the unknown. Near midnight, they arrived to look to what looked like a great room, spacious and luxurious, with mostly red tones. In said place, there was a very striking throne, and sitting on it was a terrifying creature of similar appearance to the entity that had led him into that place. If this was not disturbing enough, in a blink of an eye, he was surrounded. How many more monsters of the same species were there? Up together they sang, "Oh, this day you are our king," while they bowed to what seemed to look like the devil himself. Mr. Olegario was invited to approach the throne, so slowly and fearfully he approached the strange creature. When they finally were face to face, Olegario's face go up and then saw the terrible dark and huge eyes, with a frightful face and repulsive expression, and a terrible raspy voice of the creature that told him, "From this moment you are mine. I will give you all the riches that you have ever dreamed of, and you will receive everything you ask for, with one condition. Every full moon, you must attend to this temple and worship me at midnight." And then the creature put a hand on Mr. Olegario's forehead, and on his other hand he held a sharp dagger with a red-hot blade. After seeing this, Olegario fell to the floor, only to conclude his pact. The next morning, when Mr. Olegario woke up, he found himself in bed, and his family could not tell him at what time he came home. Everything was really strange, and suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. After removing his hurt and checking carefully, he found something like this. This way, he could collaborate that what had happened last night wasn't simply a dream. So when he wanted to explain to his wife, he began to remember. And just because he started to tell the story, he was interrupted by one of his children. The patio began to yell from the patio. He called his father to tell him that he had found a big hole in the house. Immediately, Mr. Olegario got up to see what his son had found. Upon reaching the site, he noticed there was indeed a large well on the ground, which he dared to enter and be greeted with a great surprise, because the hole was full of barrels of gold coins. After this, he decided to tell his family last night. He told his family and made them swear complete secrecy and confidelity. Sometime later, he used those riches to give his family a better life, buy properties, and change their residency. The family lived absolutely well and needed nothing. However, Mr. Olegario did not have the same luck, because he always got the same clothes. He was deteriorated and looked like a homeless person. But that is not the worst part, since he really paid his bargain of the deal. Every day after full moon, he was sick and very sore from his chest. In addition to waking up with scratches and even bruises that showed his true suffering, for the life of Mr. Olegario from that moment became a living nightmare from hell. And what do you think? You think such riches are worth in exchange for such suffering? What would you have done in Mr. Olegario's place? I hope you liked this legend.
Por el momento eso es todo. Yo soy Ivancito Azteka y nos vemos hasta la próxima. Muy buenas noches.